हरे कृष्णा। स्किप बटन पे बिल्कुल क्लिक मत करना मुझे। थैंक
हरे कृष्णा माता जी।
Hare Krishna, everybody. So,
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Welcome.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Today we are on our 8th day, and we will be looking at chapter 8, which is called the chapter on attaining the Supreme Brahman or attaining the Supreme. It's also called Akshara Yoga because the Lord, the Supreme Brahman, is Akshara. He's the infinite. And it's also called as the yoga of the indestructible Brahman, because the Lord, who is the infinite, is eternal and he is imperishable. Okay. Now, I think many of you, some of you didn't join yesterday. So we did the 7th chapter. The 7th chapter is called the knowledge of the absolute. And there we, does anyone want to give a try and see what you remember of the chapter yesterday? Hare Krishna. Anybody?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Go ahead, Mataji.
In the seventh chapter, Krishna starts off by saying that how mind should be controlled and should take shelter under the Lord. And next, he tells that many people attain perfection, but they don't understand the Lord.
Very good.
And we are finite energy of the infinite Lord.
Very
And
good.
then he tells about the gross energies and the subtle energies. Earth, water, fire, ether, and air are gross energies. And intelligent and false ego, knowledge-seeking elements, sense organs, he tells. Then he tells about 4 dushkirtanas and 4 sukirtanas.
Very nice. Very nice. Excellent. And then he also talks about in the end about how we need to move away from the delusion or the Maya that is always waiting to pull us down, and to move on the path of devotion, which is far more enriching and emancipating. Okay. And here in chapter 7, the Lord also mentioned about, the inferior energy and the superior energy, which is himself, and we, the living entities, are his marginal energy. So which means he's talking about the lower, which is the negative energies which pull us down, and as well as the higher, which enables us to uplift ourselves so that we can be perfect in everything that we do. At the same time, it also helps us to kind of, increase our spirituality so that we can be, as we are all, eternal part of the Lord, and depending on our karma and our karma phala, we will get different bodies or liberation, as the case may be. Okay, so this is what we studied yesterday, or we discussed yesterday. I'm very happy, Mataji. Who is this Mataji who gave us the overview today? You were fabulous. Who is this Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Varsha Mataji. Excellent, excellent. Are you pursuing the studies further with us, Mataji?
I will try my best.
You've been you're very good. So I think your ability to grasp is really nice. So please make time and pursue further. And I hope you have the book of Srila Prabhupada.
Mataji, I have.
Okay, great, great. And I hope most of you have started getting into the practice of doing the japa or the Maha Mantra. Okay, please attempt to doing that. You will never regret A, and the B, you will really see a lot of difference happening in your lives, right from your mental state, and as well as, in the way you look at things and in the way you attempt to, setting up your goals and achieving your goals. Okay. So the Bhagavad Gita is just not a scripture, it's not philosophy, but it actually helps you to live your life in an excellent way. Okay. So let's start with the Mangalacharana. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjalashalakaya Chakshurum Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Echa Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So now we move to the 8th chapter. I'm going to share my screen for you. And before that, I promised I will show you a slide. One of you had a question on greed, desire. That is, you asked what's the difference between greed and desire. So I said, I promised you that I will show you a slide, which was a good one, which I picked up from one of the lectures that I had attended. So I will share that with you. Okay. So we will go to chapter 8, and I'm going to share my screen for you. Can you see my screen, everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Very
Yes,
good.
Mataji.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. Okay. This is actually a lovely chapter. I'm sure, I really enjoy, whenever I read this chapter, I enjoy myself, and I'm sure that you're also going to find it extremely interesting and extremely useful. So this chapter, as I said, is Akshara Brahma Yoga, attaining the Supreme. So this starts with an inquiry from Arjuna. He basically asks 8 questions, and these 8 questions of his, they come in from the previous chapter. That is chapter 7. I will also play the chapter, the last 2 shlokas of the of chapter 7, because these questions stem from those questions, from those answers that the Bhagavan had given in chapter 7, verses 7.27 and 7.28. No, I'm sorry. I think it is 7.29 and 7.30. See, always there's a connection between the chapters. It's not that each chapter is, is independent of the other. So whenever you're reading the book, and if you stop at a particular chapter, before starting the next chapter, go to the previous 2 to 3 verses, or at least 2 verses of the previous chapter before commencing your study of the next chapter. Okay, just remember that. Only then it will start, you'll be able to feel the connectedness of what you are trying to read, and what and how you need to kind of assimilate that particular chapter. Okay, can someone read 8.1, please? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, please read.
Arjuna inquired, O Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is this self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me.
Can you read the next one also?
Mataji.
Yeah.
8.2. How does the Lord of Sacrifice live in the body, and in which part does he live? O Madhusudana, and how can those engaged in devotional services know you at the time of death? Hare
Very
Krishna,
nice.
Mataji.
Very nice. Hare Krishna. So this chapter, flows this way. There are these 8 questions that Arjuna is going to answer, and he is going to get the response for it. And then the Lord is also going to start the chapter by answering particularly the last question of his: how does one remember Lord at the time of leaving this body? And then he also talks about the yoga mixture bhakti, which is all the various yoga processes that are there to kind of build that kind of strength in ourselves, so that we can forge on the path of bhakti. Then he talks about the pure bhakti, the kevala bhakti, that we studied, or that we read yesterday in chapter 7. Then he's going to differentiate or give us the characteristics of the material world and the spiritual world. And finally, he's going to give us his final conclusion on what is the supremacy of pure bhakti. Okay, so this is how this chapter is going to flow. Now, I said there are 8 questions. Can anyone tell me what are those 8 questions that are coming in 8.1 and 8.2? What are those questions that you are able to, gauge from 8.1 and 8.2?
What is Brahman?
Yes, very good.
What is the self?
Yes.
What are the fruitive activities?
Third one, correct.
What is material manifestation?
Excellent.
What are the demigods?
Super. Then
How
next part.
can we be engaged in devotional service at the time of death?
That is the last question. The previous question is the 2 questions before that. He says, how does this Lord of Sacrifice, the Adi Yagna, how does he live in this body? And in which part of the body does he live? Oh, Madhusudana. And here the word Madhusudana is very important, because the Lord killed a demon called Madhu. So which means Arjuna is addressing, see, each, both, if you see that Krishna also addressing Arjuna by various names, and so does Arjuna address the Lord by various names. So this is because, you know, each one of them have such wonderful energies in them and wonderful characteristics, which are actually very important for us to kind of, understand, and as well as, you know, get to know the inner meaning. Here he says, "Oh Madhusudana," because he has killed so many the non-dharmic people. So the word Madhusudana is very important here, because he says, can you also kill all those kind of enemies which are there in my mind? So please, oh Krishna, help me to, you know, kind of get away from this ignorance which has engulfed me. Okay, so we will see all the answers that he's going to give. And let's see what is there in our next slide. So this is these are the two shlokas which I said. I would like to take you to Veda base, and we will read it there. I hope I can take you to Veda base. Where is Veda base? Yeah. I will take you to Veda base. It's 7.29 and 7.30. In 7.29, the Lord says, Zara marana mokshaya mam ashritaya yatantiye te brahma tadviduhu krishnam adhyatmam karma chakilam, which means intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation, moksha, from what? From Zara and Marana, from old age and death, take refuge in me in devotional service. And then he continues, they are actually Brahman because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities. Calls them Brahman because they have understood their reality in relation to the Supreme Brahman, which is Lord God, the Lord God, Supreme God, Sri Krishna. And in the next shloka, he says, Sadi bhutadi daivam mam, Sadi yagnam cha ye viduhu, prayana kale apicha mam, te vidur yukta chetasaha. What does it mean? It says, those in full conscious of me, Sadi, Adi Bhuta, Adi Daivam, those who in full conscious of me, who know me as the Adi Bhuta, as the Adi Daiva, as the Adi Atma, will always attain me even at the time of death. Those in full conscious of me who know me, the Supreme God, to be the governing principle of material. What is the governing principle of material? What is material manifestation? What do we mean by material manifestation? It is the inferior energy or the Prakriti. And of the demigods, it's the Adi Deva, because all the energies that are required to run the material manifestation are all embedded within the Lord, the Adi Devas. And then of all methods of the Adi Yagna, whatever we do, the benefactor and the beneficiary is the Lord. And know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. So unless the circle is complete, unless you're completely in awareness of the reality, he kind of hints here that you will know me at the time of death. If you do not know the reality, then it's unlikely that you will know me at the time of reality. And hence the question from Arjuna for greater clarification. And this clarification is not just for him, it is actually, he is asking this also for us. Okay, so I will go back to the slide. So let's go to the answers. The Lord has given all the answers to the questions raised by. So what is the Brahman? The Brahman is the Jiva. 1 minute, let me just take this out so that it doesn't disturb me. Okay, so the Brahman is a spirit. And this spirit is the Jiva, or the indestructible living entity that is there in every living body. The Adhyatma, the controller of the body, which is the nature of the self. Then karma. Karma is the fruit of activities, the work that we do. Actions leading to this material, the actions that has led to who we are right now. Adibhuta is the material manifestation, the gross elements and the subtle elements, is the material nature. Adi Daiva is the supreme demigods, all the various, departments that are governed by the various devis and devatas to help us to get our desires fulfilled. The universal form of the Lord includes all these gods. We will see that, when we come to chapter, I think it's chapter 10 or 11. The Adi Yagna, who is the enjoyer of all the sacrifices? When I say all our activities, it's the Paramatma. And then where does the Adi Yagna reside? He resides in the hearts of everybody. He resides in the hearts of every living entity on this, in the various universes. And how to remember Krishna at the time of death? He says it's practice. It's no great brainer. He says it's practice. Practice makes a man perfect, right? So can someone read this verse for me, 8.3?
The Supreme Lord.
Yeah.
The Supreme Lord said, the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called the Self. Action pertaining to the development of these material bodies is called karma or fruitive activity.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the Supreme Lord, the indestructible, transcendental living entity is the Brahman. Each one of us, since we have that portion of the Lord within us, we are the soul that is residing within us is indestructible and it's divine. And that eternal nature is called self. Please note, it is with a small s. The capital S is for the Lord, the Supreme Brahman. And then action pertaining to the development of these material activities, right from the time we are born to our growth, to our, again, to the fall by way of old age, and then finally exiting up. What is the act? And the various things we do in this process, in this chain, is what is called karma or fruitive activities. Okay. Now, this is what we know. Most of us, most of the living entities are always engaged in activities that which give them more and more pleasure, but those pleasures are so momentary that it doesn't really lead us anywhere. It only kind of, cages us in this material world, wanting more and more, which means that we will never be able to get out of this entanglement or this deep bondages that we build for ourselves because of our moha, because of our desire, kama. Okay, so at this point, I will show you that slide which I had for you. I hope I can pull that out. I don't know where that slide is. Okay, I think I'll pull that slide out a little later. I'm not able to figure out where it is. Okay, I will continue with the chapter. I will continue. In 8.4, can someone read 8.4? There's a beautiful explanation given by Prabhupada as well. I will give you that. But can someone read this, please? 8.4
is known to be endlessly mutable. The universe is the cosmic form of the Supreme Lord, and I am that Lord represented as the Super Soul, dwelling in the heart of every embodied being.
Yes, the physical nature is known to be endlessly mutable because it continues to undergo changes, right? And the universe is a cosmic form. The universe that we are in is a cosmic form of the Lord because he is the one who's created it. And he is represented as a super soul who lives in every living entity, in the heart of every living entity. So Prabhupada gives us this beautiful example of a caterpillar. It seems a caterpillar, as it's growing, as the growth happens for it to become a butterfly, it's eagerly waiting to become a butterfly so that it can fly. So, and it seems constantly it keeps thinking about that. When am I going to become a butterfly? So similarly, unless we constantly think about the Lord, it's unlikely that we will be able to have that engagement, the constant engagement with the Lord. So we need to be like the caterpillar to constantly have in us that, that mode for us to get ourselves liberated. Kind of, get away all those kinds of things, all those kind of activities which are taking us to the lower energies and thereby constantly keeping us in the foolish state or the ignorant state, not really, understanding the self within us and enriching ourselves. Okay, so we need to be like the caterpillar, constantly keep thinking, what is the ultimate that I want? But however, don't forget, he does not discount the duties. All of us have to perform the duties, but have a goal. What is the goal? To ultimately ensure that we get liberation, which is far more helpful and prosperous. Okay, so 8.5 is where he answers the last question, which is what happens at the time of death. So he says, Antakale cha mameva smarana muktva kale varam yaha prayati sabmat bhavam yati nasti atra shamshayah. Can someone read this translation, please?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
And whoever at the time of death quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Hare Krishna.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. So he says, Antakale cha mameva. Whoever at the time of death, at the end of his life, quits his body, remembering me alone. Antakale cha mameva. Whoever remembers me at the time of quitting this body, alone, at once attains my nature. Of that, there is no doubt. There is no shamshaya, there is no doubt. So, which means, tell me, how is it going to be possible for us to remember the Lord at the time of leaving? Can somebody? How is that going to happen?
Through
If
constant practice.
Yes, excellent. That's a good answer. And sir, Prabhuji, you wanted to say something?
I was also saying that only.
Excellent. Oh my God, I'm so happy. I'm so glad to be in association with such souls like y'all who are grasping things so fast. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So here is a picture of where we have who's the person on the bed of arrows?
Bhishma.
Bhishma, exactly. So Bhishma Pitamaha, he of course, he takes he requests he recuses himself from the fight after fighting for a few days, and then he lies on a bed of arrows. And after the war is over, the Pandavas come to him, and he also wants the Lord there. When they come to attend to him, and he gives he first of all eulogies Lord Krishna, the Supreme Lord, and then after that he also kind of advises all his nephews as to how to run the kingdom and how to administer. And he also asks them not to be worried about what the outcome of the war, because he said this was all planned and this was known. This was not a surprise. But however, he says, now that the land, the kingdom is in your safe hands, you need to do your duties so that you really kind of do your, you really run your administration in a way that you keep your people and Praja very happy. But all the time, even at the time when he was in the battlefield, when he was actively fighting, it seems his attention was constantly on the Pandavas, because he wanted to ensure their safety, because he knew that they were on the right side. And he also kind of was very, very conscious of the Lord being there. He knew who the Lord was. It's not that he was unaware of the Lord. It's only the other people who were Naradamas and Mudatmas and all the foolish people who were around him. So he kept looking at the Lord, and it seems at the time of leaving his body, his focus was completely on the Lord. Okay, so it can only happen, at the last minute. It's not that you can suddenly remember something. Unless you practice, for example, if you are a cook, you need to really practice your skills well to ensure that you dish out great dishes. If you're a musician, you need to practice. You've heard all these great musicians talk about how much of sadhana they do. So similarly, spiritual journey is also a sadhana. We have to continuously be doing the sadhana. And how can we do the sadhana? How can that encouragement and the spirit to do the sadhana come? When you are in association with like-minded people. Okay? So this is a beautiful verse. It says, Ahani ahani bhutani gachantiha yamalayam sheshaha Stavaram ichanti Kim Ashcharyam Atah Param. Hundreds and thousands of living entities meet death at every moment. But a foolish living being nonetheless thinks himself deathless and does not prepare for death. This is the most wonderful thing in this world. And this is so true. I don't think, this is a new information to us. We have people departing, from our lives, either friends or family, or we hear of people on television, we read, we see this happening, but we never think that can also happen to us. It's so true, right? 8.6, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajati antakale varam tam eva iti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. So he says, how is it that you can remember the Lord? And what is it that you will, in the next few verses, that's what he's going to say. How can you, in what state will you attain when you leave the body if you remember the Lord? The result of remembering the Lord at the time of leaving the body. Can someone read the translation?
Whatever state of being one remember when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail.
This we already saw by the story of Bharat Maharaj, right? Bharat Maharaj was so moved by the deer that came to his, the deer that he saw, near his ashram, who got orphaned because the mother was being chased by a wild animal and she lost her life. And he completely started caring for this deer. And we saw that, right? And because of that, he had left everything and come here. He left all kinds of attachments and took sannyasa and came to the forest so that he can follow the path of devotion. But here he again got attached. And because of his deep attachment, he became a deer in the next birth. But because he was a great Mahatma, he was able to recall what happened in his past birth, and he continued his path of spiritual journey until he got to liberation or moksha. And now 8.7, he says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha maya arpita manobuddhir mam evaishyasi asamshaya. Can someone read the translation for me? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt.
Perfect. Thank you, Mataji. So, Lord, again, he is reiterating that, we need to have a sthira buddhi in us so that, if we take up, the path of devotion or if we want to get on the path of spirituality, we need that self-determination to be constantly engaged in activities and service to the Lord. Okay. Now, this is the story of, Prahalad. Prahalad, was born to a demonic father. His father was Hiranyakashipu. Now, the story goes like this. When Hiranyakashipu, in the beginning, before he got all his powers, he was defeated by Indra. And he had to run for his life, and he did that, and he took a vow that he will do great penances and get all the shaktis of all the lords, from everywhere, so that he can become eternal. And when he went off to do that, he went away to do that, and he was away for thousands and thousands of years. And at that time, his wife was pregnant. And Indra also wanted to kind of, eliminate his wife. But however, Narada Muni came in the way. He said, no, don't touch her, because she is carrying in her womb a great pious soul, who is Prahalad Mahaprabhu. So please don't even try to touch her. And Narada Muni takes her to his ashrama. And there in the ashrama, Narada Muni reads all these great, Vedic scriptures. And she keeps listening to that. And the baby in the womb, is constantly absorbing these things. And then when the baby was born, by then Hiranyakashipu had come out. But his wife forgot all about it. But however, the baby remembered. And as he was growing, he was a small boy. He was barely 5 years old when he was going to the Gurukula. It seems whenever there used to be those intervals between classes, this boy used to revel about all the great glories of the Supreme Lord, because he had heard it all. Even if you remember in our culture, whenever, we have pregnant women, they always say, keep the environment nice for them. Let them listen to nice things, have nice conversation, let them listen to some spiritual, stories. Let them watch good things. Let them read good things. Keep them happy. The reason is, when we are children, as children, as we grow in the womb of our mothers, it says the kind of things that we absorb is far, far higher than what we absorb when we come out of the material world, because once we are out of the womb, the material world is there to contaminate us. But Prahlad, being Prahlad, he did not allow the contamination to touch him, and he continued with his bhakti. And you know what happened thereafter, how he liberated his father and how he became a great king himself. Okay. 8.8, there's again a great story that accompanies this verse. Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati parthanu chintaya. Can someone read this translation for me, Hare Krishna?
He who meditates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, Arjuna, is sure to reach.
Sure to reach me. So this is a beautiful story. I'm going to tell you and then come back to this verse again. This was the story of Ajamila. Who knows the story of Ajamila? Does anyone here know the story of Ajamila?
No, Mother.
Okay, Ajamila was born in a pious home. He was a Brahmana, and he had been trained on all these ways.
Mataji, I have one question.
Yes.
Ajamil, this Ajamil was of Jagannath Ajamil or other Ajamil? There was a Ajamil in Jagannath, no?
I'm not sure. Can I get back to you on this? I will take this down. I will take this down and come back to you and clarify this to you tomorrow.
Mataji, is it the story that he names his son as some god's name?
Yeah, you're right. You're bang on there. Correct. So Ajamila was born in a pious family, and he had all kinds of Brahminical values were inculcated in him. One day, he's just wandering around and he sees, two people in the mode of passion. And then his mind just, gets contaminated. And then his desire to marry the woman, in the arms of another man grows. And she happens to be, a lady who was in prostitution. And she happily agrees to marry him, and he gets married to her. And then he starts ill-treating his own family members. His father, he chases his father away from the home, and then he just ignores his wife, the wife that he had been legally married to. And then he had 10 children in this lady who he got attached to. And then he rebelled in life like that. He got into all kinds of, ill habits. And then finally the time for him to leave the body came. And he had named his last son as Narayana. And he loved the last boy of his. So when he saw the Yamadutas coming, they were so scary that he started screaming, Narayana, Narayana. When he did that, we always have, that's what, we say when we say things, we say tathastu, all our in our homes, they say, shubh shubh bolo. A shubh shubh bolo ka matlab ye hota hai ki, there are always these lovely angels who are always going around us. All the Vishnu Dutas are always around us. So when you say good things, they are all, whenever you say anything, they say tathastu. When you're saying something bad, that also tathastu. When you have bad thoughts, tathastu. And when you have good thoughts, that's also tathastu. They kind of, give their blessings on everything you say. So therefore, I remember I also told you yesterday, the Lord is always constantly waiting to fulfill our desires. So therefore, the thoughts that you have need to be really good, because everything will be fulfilled by the Lord. So therefore, the Vishnu Dutas were all around. When they heard this name, Narayana, Narayana, they came running to see who is calling our Supreme Lord. And then they saw the Yamadutas, completely, mishandling this Ajamila. So they said, who are you all? So the Yamadutas look at them and say, who are you all? You all look so angelic. Who are you all? Why are you all chasing away? We have come to take his soul away because his time is up. They said, no, you can't touch him because he's calling out to our Supreme Lord Narayana. So don't even dare to touch him. And then, Ajamila, then, when he sees these supreme beings around him, all his old memories come back to him. They come flooding. And then he realizes the gross errors he made in his life. And then he asks them for forgiveness. He said, can you please forgive me and give me one more chance? It is said that the Vishnu Dutas gave him they said, okay, please go have one more chance. And it said that he went to Haridwar and he kind of, completely, did a lot of prayashchita. And after that, it is said, this is what happened. This is what happened. The Lord himself came down to take Ajamila back to his abode, to the Vaikuntha abode. Okay. So let me go back to that shloka. This is the shloka. He who meditates on the Supreme Personality with his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated. Undeviation is very important. O Partha is sure to reach me. Please understand, Ajamila and all, were lucky. But I don't think we are going to be that lucky. So therefore, we can't just deviate like the way Ajamila deviated. Okay, let's not do that. Okay, 8.9. Can someone read 8.9?
One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and being transcendental, he is beyond this material nature. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So these are the various ways in which you can remember the Lord. How can you remember the Lord? You can remember the Lord as the omniscient. He's a Trishala Darshi, Trikala Darshi. He can remember the past, the present, and the future. Okay. He's Anadir. He's the oldest, and he's Aja. He's unborn. And then he's the controller of everything. He is present in every minute, tiny atom of living entity in all the universes. He is beyond material conception. He is actually nirguna. The gunas affect us. The gunas do not affect him. He is inconceivable. He's omnipresent, he's omniscient, and he's always omnipotent. He's a very strong person. So these are the various ways. When you see the light of the sun, remember the Lord. When you taste when you're having water, the taste is the Lord. Remember the Lord. When you're breathing this air that's around us, which is helping us to be energetic, it's the Lord. So be thankful to everything that you have around you. And remember the Lord in everything that you do. That itself is a big seva that you do for yourself. And then he also says, remember I also told you in this chapter, he also talking about Yoga Mishra. If you want to really attain the Lord, these are the various ways. One is to kind of be thankful, be grateful to everything that is around you. The other way is, following the path of the Ashtanga Yoga that we spoke of in chapter 6. You can do that as well. But that the Lord himself said that's very, very difficult. So the best path, he says, is bhakti. Complete surrender to the Lord. And remember, the God, everything that we are talking about here is not to inculcate a fear in God, but to love for God. Our Vedic scriptures talk about love for God, not fear of God. Okay. So this is how all the various Devis and Devatas, they meditate on the Lord constantly so that they can provide us with all the things that we desire. Okay. So here you see Brahma meditating on the Lord. Here Shiva is meditating. All the Devis, all the everybody around there constantly thinks of the Lord, because he is the one who can deliver us from everything and can also help us with everything that we need. Okay. 8.15 Mam upetya punarjanma dukhalayam ashashvatam na vanti mahatmanah samsiddhim paramam gatah. Can someone read this translation?
After attaining me, the great soul who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of mysteries, because they have attained the highest perfection.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mam upetya punarjanma. After attaining me, you will never get another janma. There's a promise that the Lord is giving us. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. This world is first of all temporary. And even while it's temporary, it's full of miseries. All of us, we know what all we go through in our lives. So therefore, who wants to come back? Napnuvanti Mahatmanah. Great souls who know this. Having attained the highest goal of personal service to me. Great souls who know this, they know that this Ashashwatam world is not for them. So instead of, look at this picture, we have this nice picture. You don't have to really struggle to get the love of Lord, or to kind of, get his attention, so that, he kind of delivers us from this world of misery. It's very simple. Bhakti Marga is as simple as just opening the door and walking in. Okay. It needn't have to be, do severe penances, renounce everything and go to the Himalayas and start doing things. No, Bhakti Marga is very simple. As long as you know that everything, everywhere the Lord is there and you're thankful for everything, that itself is a great way for you to keep yourself on the spiritual Marga. Now, this is another beautiful verse. Now, why is he saying this? From the highest planet to the material down to the lowest, all the places of misery wherein repeated birth and death takes place. Please understand, even the heavenly planets also get devastated when the Pralaya and the Mahapralaya happen. Okay. But one who attains my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. See, who wants to be in the war? Heavens also had a lot of wars. All the stories that we are reading of Bharat Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu and everything was a Satya Yuga, which were all about, all these were great, powerful people. We don't want the heaven. We don't want to be at the earth again. Earth again, we see what is happening. And hell is, of course, destination. So we don't want to go there. So what do we want? So in 8.71 and 8.19, once again, the Lord reminds us about Brahma's life. So how the Pralaya happens. Remember, I think we read this in in chapter 4, right? So 1,000 ages, these are Divya Yugas. 4 Yugas put together is 1 Yuga. Okay, one Divya Yuga. 1,000 such Divya Yugas make one Kalpa of Brahma, which is 1 day of Brahma. And then there is another 1,000 Mahayugas, which make the night of Brahma. So there are several kinds of annihilation or decimation that happens. One is our natural death. And then there is, some minor form of devastation that happens at the end of every yuga. Satya Yuga was one, and then there was a minor devastation, and then there was a minor devastation after the Treta Yuga, then the Dwapara Yuga, then at the beginning of the Kali Yuga and the Dwapara Yuga, we had the Mahabharata war. So that's a minor devastation where some elements get decimated. And then there is one mass pralaya that happens at the end of Brahma's life, where all the universes go back into the Lord, the Karno Dakshaya Vishnu. Okay, including some of the heavenly planets. Okay, so therefore that's why I said we don't want that. And then there is another Mahapralaya at the end of Brahma's life, which is at the end of 100 years. Those, how many years Brahma lives for. So we don't want that. So where do we want to be? We want to be in the eternal abode of the Lord. And what is that eternal abode of? That is the Vaikuntha planet. That is the blissful abode which never undergoes any kind of decimation, any kind of annihilation. Can somebody read this? 8.20? Is it visible?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, please read, Mataji. 8.20.
Yet there is another nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, the part remains as it is.
Yes. So this world of the Lord never goes through annihilation. This is the Vaikuntha planet. So here, this is the details of this is available in a book called Brahma Samhita. It is also available, and so it's a very small book. I think it's available in our library as well, on the online library, and it's also available on Amazon if you like to pick it up. It's a small book. It hardly has around 125 pages and decent font size. So you can get the details of all about the Vaikuntha planet here. I will try to just zoom in a little bit and show you what. I don't think it's okay. Can you see this? Is this visible to some extent? Hare Krishna?
Yes, Mataji.
Some bit. Yeah? So the Lord is a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, right? As a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he lies on the causal ocean, and from his navel he creates the Brahma. And as a Shirodakshaya Vishnu, along with him, he helps him to create. Okay, and these are the various lokas that create, that Brahma in turn create. These are there are the lower planetary system. Now we are in the Bhurloka, the earth planetary system. Then we have the Bhuvar and the Swar. Okay, these three undergo devastation at the time of those minor devastations, small little devastations that I told you that happen. These three go, and then when the pralaya happens, all these planets go back into the Lord. Okay, so all these planets you just see, except the Vaikuntha planet. Okay, so that's why I said we don't want to go to any of those, the upper planets. We want to really directly go into the planet of the Mahavishnu. Okay, so these are all. This is below the 14 planetary system is all the hellish planets. So these are the lower planets: Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala. It's beautiful. If you really want to read these, go into get into Brahma Samhita. It's very nice. And if this really interests you, you can read more about it in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I think Canto 2 or Canto 3 gives you a lot of information about all this. It's simply mind-boggling. And those of you who are in West Bengal, I think Mayapur is coming out with the Vedic cosmology, the center. Okay, that's going to be really, really awesome. I think some of you are staying in West Bengal. I think it's a great thing for you to go. If you can, just make a visit to Mayapur. So what is this? What is so magnificent about the Lord's abode? The Lord's abode is all about the way he was in Vrindavan, when he spent his time in Vrindavan. So it was blissful. The Brijvasis were so happy. They were so happy. Things were so blissful. There was absolute, happiness with the Lord around, him as a friend, him as a child. Okay, so that's a kind of bliss you will experience in his loka. There's no scope for unhappiness at all. Okay, because the Lord is there. So wherever the Lord is there is only bliss and nothing else. Now this is a beautiful example of. This is from the Mukundamala Stotra. These are the prayers of King Kulashekara. Now what does he pray? He says, 1 minute. There is this thing which always disturbs me. Okay. He says, Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Panjarantam Adyeva Me Vishatu Manasa Raja Hamsaha Prana Prayana Samaya Kafa Vata Pittaha Kanta Varodhana Vidhau Smaranam Kutaste. And the translation goes as, Oh Krishna, please allow my mind to immediately yield to your lotus flower-like feet, your Pankaja. Pankaja is the lotus that goes from the mud. That's why the lotus has another name called Pankaja. Pankaja Panjaratnam, your lotus-like feet, your flower-like, lotus-like feet. Just as the flamingo enters into the labyrinth of the lotus flower stems, when at that moment of my last breath, just in case my throat becomes constricted by the action of the bodily humors of air, that is, kapha, vata and pitta, air, bile and phlegm, how will I be able to remember you? Oh, what a pious devotee he must have been. He says, please give me Sharanagati when I am in my good memory. Today, we in this world, we go through so many, diseases as we age, right? We hear of diseases like Alzheimer's and things like that, which completely, just rout us like anything. So he says, I don't want to get into a stage where I forget you, oh Lord. What if the air or the phlegm, prevents me from, calling out your name, or prevents me from remembering you, because my bodily pains will be so great that I won't be able to remember you. So it seems he gives the example of a flamingo. The flamingo normally, puts its feet into the stem, into the bottom stem of the lotus. So he says, let me do the same thing by completely getting shelter of your lotus-like feet. Okay. Now, can someone read 8.28, the translation?
A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the result derived from studying the Vedas, performing astras, sacrifices, giving charity, or purifying philosophical and fruitful activities. At the end of the reaches the supreme abode.
Exactly. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vedeshu yagneshu tapahasu chaiva, which means by studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam, giving charity, whatever pious results may be obtained, one can surpass all of them by knowing me. Atiyeti tat sarvam idam viditva yogi param sthanam upaiti chadyam. So what he says is, whatever a person achieves by way of doing various forms of yoga, like, the Ashtanga yoga, or studying philosophical, the Sankhya yoga or the Ashtanga yoga, whatever benefit that will give you, the same benefit you will get from pure bhakti. Isn't it simple? He is asking us to enjoy our lives. He is encouraging us to live our lives, do our prescribed duties. Remember in one of the previous verses, he tells Arjuna, put your mind on me, go fight. So he expects us to do our karma. He expects us to do our work. But how do you do the work? Do the work within the moral codes of dharma. Okay? And when you do that, and with your mind on him, and surrendering all your activities, results of your activities in him, he says, you will reach my supreme abode. You don't have to really put any kind of pressure on your body by going through various kind of austerities. He says that is not needed at all. He's such a kind man, So the summary of this chapter is, there are 8 questions that Arjuna asked. Then the Lord talks about how to remember him. That was the last question of Arjuna. How to remember the Lord, during the last minutes. Antakale chamameva. Remembering Krishna by Yoga Mishra Bhakti. Yes, you can do that. You can follow Yoga Mishra. You can do all kinds of Ashtanga Yoga. But Krishna finally in the last, he says, you don't need to do that. He says the only way that will really help us to deliver ourselves is pure bhakti. And he also gives us a difference between what is the material world and the spiritual world. With that, we end this chapter. Okay, this chapter comes to an end. Tomorrow, we are going to be looking at chapter 9, which is called Yoga of the Sovereign Science, or the Sovereign Secret. It's called the Most Confidential Knowledge. Okay, that's chapter 9 tomorrow. So if any of you have any thoughts, any experience to share.
Mataji, I have a question.
Sure.
When the Mahabharata war was going on, what was the situation of the other parts of the world?
See, the entire world was engaged in Mahabharata. That's why it's called the Mahabharata. It's a war of wars. Okay. So in those days, they had a discipline. The war used to happen in a place which was far away from the cities, from all the places where, far away from places where human dwellings and living entities were there. So they didn't have like the way we do. Today the wars are all crazy, right? They just do. And they had a discipline. They would do it, only at at dawn and then close before dusk. They had a discipline. Certain discipline was maintained. So it was a war. See, we were ruling the entire universe. Bharata Varsha was so powerful. What we are today is a minuscule of what we were, at the end of the Dwapara Yuga.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other question? Or any other thoughts? Please also share your thoughts as well, your experience so far. We have completed. Why did Krishna not show his real identity? See, real identity to show, even if he showed the real identity, for example, he showed his identity in the assembly of the Kuru king, Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra, of course, was blind, But many of the people who were present in the assembly, all of them saw, because now and then he would show his real self. Very few people understood. You know what Duryodhana, after seeing that once, he said, "Oh, this man is a mystic. He's just trying to show all his magical powers to us. He's a Naradhama. He's a foolish fellow." And there were many people, like most of them are foolish. See, even today, for many of us, a lot of goodness comes our way. How many of us really take that goodness? Sometimes we just neglect it. Many a times, elders, when they say certain things, it doesn't appeal to us. It irritates us. These are words. When someone is speaking something nice, please understand, it is a way that the consciousness is trying to reach you. We just shun it. So unless you are someone who understands the real nature of our existence, and you also kind of, put your mind on these scriptures, it's highly unlikely for you to do that self-inquiry and introspection. It's only by self-inquiry and introspection we become better human beings. See, the COVID happened, right? Of course, it's still going on in bits and pieces. We know how many numbers suffered during the COVID times. All of us went through all of us felt the impact in some form or the other. Everybody was impacted. There were so many people who depended on daily wages, including people who come and help us and support us in our day-to-day homes. And I know the innumerable number of people who never paid them. They said, "No, 2 mahine kaam nahi kiya, nahi denge." And do you think if there was even one iota of spirituality, would they have done that? So Lord Krishna revealing himself is not going to do anything unless you are ready to see him. He is there everywhere. Are you ready to see him? Are you ready to acknowledge? Are you ready to accept? If he comes today before you, are you ready to accept? So we need to build that kind of qualities in us, so that when we see goodness happening, we are able to receive it. So Varshaji, you have a great opportunity here. Continue this journey. I'm sure you will probably see Krishna. I mean, not probably, you will definitely see Krishna. I can guarantee you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
I have one question. When Lord Krishna stops time to tell Gita to Arjuna, so how did Sanjaya see the Vishwarup darshan of Lord Krishna? Because it is said in Gita that it has a teja of thousands of sun. So he said, Sanjaya said, so he was not in the time stop or something. Just tell
But
me.
he's constantly hearing, right? See, the Lord said, no, in the 4th chapter, if you remember, he said this knowledge got lost. He said, I gave this knowledge to Vivaswan to his son, and then Manu gave it to Ikshvaku, his son. Right? So the Lord said the disciplic succession broke. And he is giving this knowledge again to Arjuna, and through Arjuna, Sanjaya is able to view, and from what Sanjaya is viewing, through his commentary, we are able to see. The Lord basically left this great knowledge for us. So this is for us. And Sanjaya, yes, saw it, and we will see that. I think Vishwarupa Darshan is chapter 10 or something. We'll see that.
So he was not stuck in time?
No. No, because he's giving the Anko de Kahal, na? He was the commentator, no? He was giving the commentation, no, of what was happening between Arjuna and Krishna on the battle.
So what did he exactly saw? I mean, so he said that it has a teja of thousands of sun. So what is it?
We will see that in chapter, I'll tell you where is the universe. That comes in chapter 9, in chapter 11. So hold yourself.
Thank you, Mataji.
Chapter 11. Okay. Hare Krishna. Any other questions?
Mataji, I have a question.
Yes.
That in every body there is God, right? But when Gandhari cursed Lord Krishna, then Gandhari, that means Krishna himself cursed him. That means.
Gandhari was a Jivatma. See, what did the Lord say? If you have been attending all these classes, he says, I create the Jivatmas and they are independent and I am aloof. He has given us the independence. It's up to us to choose the lower or the higher. The lower is the material energy that is there, which he calls the inferior energy. The superior energy is the Supreme Lord. So he has given us all the independence to either turn towards the inferior energy or the superior energy. So Gandhari was a normal person like you and me. I think somebody asked this question before, and I think I gave this response, and I'm responding the same again. Gandhari was just a normal person. So we also, when anything goes right, we're very happy. I don't think that we even think of going and thanking the Lord for it. But something goes bad, no. Who's God? Where is God? Why did he come and help me? Can I tell you something? When you are on this, when you continue this journey, you will really feel the power of being balanced. You will know how to take things in your stride. It will really help you. Experience it. Don't give up this journey. Continue this journey. As I said, you can continue the journey with us.
Mataji,
yeah.
Can I share my experience?
Sure, Mataji. Please. Who's this? Your name?
Bhumika.
Huh?
Bhumika.
Yes, Bhumika Mataji. Hare Krishna.
So this is not my first class actually. I had enrolled to a batch in the lockdown period.
Oh, okay.
So actually at that time I was not attentively listening to the class, and the 18-day course ended. So after that there were many ups and downs in the family due to COVID and all. Yeah. But I was somehow able to connect those lessons which I didn't even heard properly to the current situation, and it was like a miracle for me. So after that I developed interest in knowing about Krishna. So even from my childhood my grandfather used to tell stories of Lord Krishna, and he even bought story books and all. We used to watch the serial Mahabharat, B.R. Chopra one. And later I joined to dance classes, and I used to dance on Krishna's songs and all. So this is the thing. And after chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, so first I used to chant like 1 round per day, and it was irregular. So after my family issues and all settled, I developed more like a belief, and I started doing it daily. Sometimes I get tears in my eyes, when chanting the name. And now I manage to somehow, like whatever time it is, I just don't care and manage to chant 4 rounds per day.
Very good, Mataji. Mataji, I am really feeling so blessed in your association, and I'm sure all the members who are attending this class are also feeling equally blessed with your experience. And I'm sure this will be a great motivation and inspiration to everybody here. And thank you so much for sharing. So Prabhuji, to your question again, this is a great testimonial. This is not something which I am giving you from what we have shown earlier, but this is a live testimonial of a Mataji who's sharing her experience. And I can tell you, Prabhuji, I also have the same kind of experience that Mataji shared. It's not that the problems have gone away. It's not that there are no new problems coming in, but the way to solve it, the way to look at it has completely changed. And that is keeping me so much balanced, so much at peace. I am not worried about anything. And it doesn't mean that I'm not doing anything about the problem. Yes, I am solving my problems. Problems are there. I'm solving the problems, but I have far more strength to face my problems. Just like what Mataji said.
Even my mindset has changed, like the view on the problem, and I'm emotionally balanced also. And even if there's some problem, I'm like Krishna है ना देख लेंगे.
बस बस सब कुछ कृष्णा पर कर देना चाहिए, लेकिन हमें भी जो भी हमसे हो पाएगा हमें उसको करना है. That's what the Krishna says. So therefore he gives you the intellect. Chapter 10 is beautiful. Please attend all the classes, everyone. I know some of the classes are coming on Saturdays and Sundays, and some of you are very busy. You all are young people. You all have a lot of other commitments. But if you can, please make it. The rest of the chapters are going to be extremely nice. It gives you, it really opens up your mind, because the Lord kind of gives you, a lot of strength in terms of solidifying your belief in Him. Okay, and it's true. It's not about Brahm. Brahm nahi hai. That much I can guarantee. It is real.
Mataji, when मैं जब जॉब करता था पहले तो मुझे भी रोना भी आ जाता था, मुझे भी सेम थिंग होता था.
करुणामयी है Lord. Lord is full of compassion. Even Arjuna, जो भी उनका स्थिति था, whatever he's going through on the battlefield, compassion, no enjoyment, no sin. See, the other side, there were so many other people who were there. None of them went through that kind of an experience. It's only a devotee who goes through that. It's only one who is in the spiritual plane who will experience all that. A material person doesn't experience all this. Right?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, I'm saying this is not my first class. I tried to attend these ISKCON classes pehle bhi, but I didn't connected much. I don't know. I started to skip these sessions and all, and then my mother said that it's your summer vacation, so you should join the class, and I agreed to do so. So this is my second class, and I feel so joy while learning about Krishna, and I'm very thankful to you, ma'am, that you have this aura which is very positive, and I understand it in very well way.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Your words of encouragement definitely is Krishna's blessings on me. Thank you so much. I really look forward to more association with people like yourselves, and I'm really blessed. I really feel blessed. Thank you so much. I'm really enjoying this association with all of you. Thank you so much.
Mataji, I have a problem.
Yeah.
When I used to japa mala, I face this problem. I used to do japa mala. Pehle bhi kafi baar I tried. I used to do it for many years continuously, but then I dropped it after COVID, and now I'm picking it up again while after these classes started. And I faced this problem again, that whenever I used to do japa mala, after 5 or 10 minutes of doing japa mala, I feel a very, very heavy pressure on my eyes, and it starts paining, and it's like a bit unbearable. So I used to open my eyes. I don't know why it is.
Mataji, how are you doing it? Are you doing it, अपने मन में करते हो, या are you pronouncing the word so that you can hear?
In my mind.
Don't do that, Mataji, because that mind meditation comes after a lot of you need to get a lot of experience for that. Don't do that. You say it, bol ke. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
I tried doing it too. I used to speak out loud the mantra, but I feel this pain. Why is it
Mataji.
so?
Then Mataji, don't do it continuously. Take a break. Maybe just take 10-10. Do 10-10 or 5-5. Whenever you get time, do it like that. Don't do it continuously. I think probably you are getting very emotional.
Okay, Mataji.
Maybe you're getting emotional. I don't know. But however, Mataji, do it whenever. We said, remember, I shared in one of the, I think, chapter 6 or 7, I think, yesterday or day before, I shared with you all, how, you can do it anytime, Mataji.
Okay, Mataji.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Any other question? Okay, if there are no questions,
Mataji,
tell me Prabhuji.
I want to share one thing. मैं जब छोटा था मेरा कार्डियक का ऑपरेशन हुआ था, ठीक है, तो आई हैव कार्डियक ऑपरेशन. So from small, when I was small, from then I play mridanga and tabla. Now also I enjoy playing more than playing tabla, mridanga.
Wow. तो प्रभु जी एक दिन आप यदि आप कल आओगे तो 10 मिनट पहले आ जाओ, मे बी आप कीर्तन करो हमारे साथ.
Okay.
मृदंग बजा के हरे राम हरे कृष्णा का धुन बजाओ हमारे लिए.
Okay.
Please, your good name प्रभु जी, आपका नाम प्रभु जी?
My name is Bitayan Roy.
जितेंद्र?
No, Bitayan.
Bitayan. Okay, Bitayan. Whenever you can, otherwise, maybe tomorrow's chapter is a small chapter. In between the session, we can have a nice kirtan from you. Is it okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So if there are no questions, shall we end this class?
No,
You have one more question?
No.
Okay.
No, I have one more question.
Yes.
That if I wear tilak, I can wear tilak, or it is not, I should not wear tilak?
नहीं, तिलक पहनो because it's a Vaishnava symbol, right? वो जो पहनते हैं
Somebody says me that you should not wear tilak.
तिलक means ये red वाला या द वैष्णव तिलक?
No, Vaishnava वाला.
वो of course कर सकते हो आप. देखो हमने पहले ही बोला था.
I wear मैं ये पहन के मेरे डिस्पेंसरी में जाता हूँ, बस में कहीं भी जाता हूँ, मैं पहन के जाता हूँ क्योंकि मुझे पॉजिटिविटी मिलता है.
बस एक माता जी,
क्योंकि कोई नहीं, मेरे फैमिली में कोई कहता है कि मत पहनो, क्या पहनते हैं.
अच्छा, इसमें there are two things. It all depends. If your family is insisting नहीं करो, then try to make a balance.
नहीं मेरे फैमिली, no, they think that I am going to washroom, it is a negative place, right? That only, that I am not, it is not a positive place, no.
Which one is not a positive place?
Washroom or any dirty place.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं. भगवान तो हमारे साथ हमारे साथ हर समय है. अभी तो आप गीता में पढ़ रहे हो ना. The super soul is residing with us all the time. He is there with you.
No, my thought is that if a Muslim can wear their cap, why can't we wear our tilak?
I will not go into the that we can wear a tilak. See, please, God is always with us. God is always with us. He is with you when you're sleeping. He is with you when you're eating. He is with you when you're watching a movie. He is with you when you're reading a book. He is with you when you're in the washroom. He's there always with you. Tilak is just a symbol of your love for the Lord. Because when you wear the tilak, आपके भगवान के, when you go to the Bhagwan's altar and वहाँ से लेके you put the tilak, right?
Yes.
For example, I put, हमारे घर में हमेशा चंदन का है होता है, हम लगाते हैं. अभी चला गया लेकिन लगाते हैं हम. हाँ, so उसका तो कुछ ऐसा कुछ नहीं है प्रभु जी.
Okay.
ठीक है. So I'm going to end this session. वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरि बोल.